Give me a 3 second. Oh, did it
Hey,
again.
we're live. We are live. Hey, Anthony, great to see you. A little discombobulated because I'm in Vegas still, Anthony.
You're in Vegas. You know what? You started here. You had a lot of energy, a lot of apprehension.
Yep.
Yesterday, you were full of energy. You were excited, and now you look like someone that went to 3 bachelor parties, 3 bachelorette
Right.
parties, and did not sleep for at least 48 hours.
Hey, Vegas, baby. Let's get this show started.
No,
All
and
right.
I mean that in a nice way. It's like no, I'm serious.
Hey, dude,
It's
listen.
like you and Jeff are producing a show on
Yeah.
the fly in a closed town that just opened. And so I mean that, like, you're working your butt off, and I just want everybody to appreciate that. That's it.
Hey, thanks, buddy. And I want Vegas to I want to appreciate Vegas for how good they were to me last night. It felt good to get back in the saddle. It felt good to get out and have a good time, and it felt good to feel a little bit normal from time to time, although there were a lot of times when it just did not feel normal at all, Anthony. I do want to say a quick shout out and thanks to the great folks over at MGM Resorts for giving us this great space. They've been really helpful in giving us access to be able to bring to you this incredible coverage. Right now, we're at Serrano's, and we're at Lago by Julian Serrano. Great place. So
It is beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the window. I love the walls. So let me ask you a question.
Wait, before we get started, I just want to say, thanks very much to them, and we promise to have no technological meltdown. So I just want to say again, I'm sorry to Bruce Haas, who couldn't make it on the show yesterday because our equipment overheated, and also to industry legend Harris Rosen. So sorry, guys. Sometimes things kind of get a little bit out of our control. I probably should have thought, and I didn't anticipate the sun and the strongness. You'd think I'd be smarter about the Las Vegas desert, so I'm really sorry that didn't work out, but we'll get you guys back again. So
We were supposed to have Mr. Rosen on yesterday?
Yeah. We had got back and forth a couple of times. He had canceled. Now we screwed it up, but we'll get him back on. So hopefully that'll be good because he is one of the most incredible people as well. And also,
that's about one of the most important guests we can have on ever.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. Before we get into it, I want to just thank our sponsors real quick, if you don't mind. If we could bring up that PDF, Jeff, that'd be really awesome. So Kimball Hospitality, these guys are absolutely fantastic. And they've been supporting the hospitality industry with custom case goods, custom seating, and more. Kimball Hospitality is the leader in the industry and supports all major brands manufacturing here in North America as well as in Asia. Call Kimball Hospitality and let them show how they partner with you and your designer to make your design a success. Just a little piece of knowledge. They've done half of the high-end installations here in Las Vegas. So they are synonymous with Las Vegas. They're synonymous with great quality stuff. Check them out at kimballhospitality.com. And of course, I want to thank the good folks over at Hotel Effectiveness. These guys are great. You know, labor costs are the largest operating expense for any hotel, and old school approaches to staffing and scheduling are inefficient and costing you money, especially now in this COVID-19 world. But perfect labor by Hotel Effectiveness. It automates the scheduling process to eliminate all waste, and it sits between the PMS and the payroll system. Includes a free mobile app for employees, and managers can track who is viewed to schedule and know that changes to schedules are seen. More than 4,500 hotels use Perfect Labor, including the largest management companies and brands. Low cost, high value service that frees up manager time and optimizes GOP and NOI. Love that. But you're going to love the fact that they won Best of Hotel Technology and Hotel Tech Report and Capterra for the past 2 years. Check them out at hoteleffectiveness.com and let them know that we sent you to them.
And right now, it's needed more than ever. I mean, because the flex time and the way people are going to work from home and the efficiencies when you are bringing people back, are we sure we need everybody that's coming back? And so it is more important than ever because payroll is on everybody's lips right now. So talking about everybody's lips right now, what's going on in Vegas? So I just want an overall scorecard before you start giving me your breakdown. So 1 to 10, feeling comfortable in Vegas. Give me a number.
All right. Feeling comfortable in Vegas. I got to be honest with you. It depends on the resort that you're at. Each of the resorts.
1 to 10 to Vegas, period. You get on a plane, you're rating Vegas. I'm not letting you break it down.
I'll say, all right, 8.
8. Okay, that's great. Okay, so now go, man. Now it's you, baby. I'm just going to sit here and watch you work.
All right. So here's my my quick report. So every company, casino resort company, has decided to approach this a little bit differently, which surprised me because I would have thought what I witnessed here at MGM Resorts' Bellagio property was going to be the standard for all of the other resorts that I visited throughout our night last night. Last night, producer Jeff and myself, we went out and we toured most of the open casinos, including the Wynn Complex, Venetian, Palazzo. We went over to Caesars, we went over to Cosmo, and then we wound up back over here. So a lot of different companies representative, a lot of different approaches going from what I thought here, Anthony, was probably the most, had the most new protocols put in, while other properties kind of slid down the scale, landing down at a Cosmopolitan. When you walked in there, could hardly tell that any changes were made since February. So a big variety of things that are happening over here in terms of new procedures policy.
So were there plexiglass at the Cosmo? Was there plexiglass at the front desk, plexiglass at the table?
All right, I didn't see the front desk. We didn't go that far into the building, but on the casino floor specifically, not one piece of plexiglass. A lot of people extremely close together. I'm telling you, there were some slot machines that were off, but mostly it was like it was 4 months ago.
And
there were a lot of people there.
Were employees wearing masks?
Yes. Yes. Interestingly enough, all employees at all the properties were wearing masks, but the Las Vegas Police Department does not wear masks. So it gets a little weird because you see somebody in uniform walking around the casino and they're not wearing a mask. And I think you could easily confuse the Las Vegas police with some of the security teams.
And they're not wearing masks. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So when you walked into the Cosmo, there was no temperature checks, nothing like that, just to be clear.
No temperature checks there. However, other resorts did have temperature checks.
So give me the best experience of temperature checks.
The Wynn and Venetian were tied. I think the Wynn was really good because the Wynn was really good because it was much more subtle. I think we got a video on that one, right, Jeff? Yeah, let's bring up the video so you guys could actually see what you experience when you walk into the Wynn Resort complex. Now, some of these resorts, including Venetian, don't have all of the entrances open in order to control that traffic to come in and out so they can do the thermal scan. So we're going to pull that up right now. We'll take a look at it.
For the audience, we didn't have time to edit all these because they literally just stopped working, a couple hours ago. So we're going to do our best.
Yeah, so
go ahead, let's see.
All right, so I'm going to have to look at my computer screen. All right, so there you see the guy with the thermal equipment hanging out on the side, right? So this is the controlled entrance from the parking garage.
Okay.
Very subtle. You didn't even really see anything, right?
No, I don't know where it is. Where is it?
That's the whole point. It's over on the left. Let's replay that video if we can. Take a look over there. Boom, right over there.
Oh, that gentleman right there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So the way it works is it's not it's very not obtrusive. You just walk in and it's no issue whatsoever because the machines scan the bodies with thermally, I suppose, and they will only approach you should you have a temperature higher than the 100.4.
So what happens if there's 5 or that is, first of all, that's brilliant and that's expected from the Wynn because I mean it's another level.
Right, and I want to say Venetian has the same technology in place. It's just a little bit more in your face.
So what I love about this is that it is not in your face. But what happens if 7 people are walking in together? Like, how do you know who's got the temperature?
I would suppose each of the bodies have an individual thermal scan, and the person who's monitoring the video screens could probably tell.
Okay. Thank you very much there.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got over here.
My friend.
All right. This is the Venetian one. All right. So could you play it one more time, Jeff? Just take a look right at the right side of the screen as soon as it launches.
Okay.
Did you see that over there?
Yeah.
So when they're coming out of the elevators from the parking garage there, they have the thermal scanners, they have some monitors behind you and a thermal scanner right in your face as you're walking in. So they're doing that. Then they also had, I observed, one of the handheld temperature checks. So my guess is if you register hot on the thermal scanner, then they go ahead and they hit your forehead with it before having anything else.
No, is there signage saying we're taking your temperature?
Yeah, there is, but both at Wynn and Venetian Palazzo, they downplayed it. They made it a little bit more subtle. You really have to be looking for it to be plainly obvious. It's there, it's clear, but based on normal consumer behavior, it's not something that your eyes are going to normally gravitate to.
And I truly think that is so critical. What the Wynn, MGM, Venetian are doing, that's how you have to live. You have to be able, it's got to be there because you want to feel safe, but it can't be in your face, and you can't be signing paperwork, and you can't be standing in line to take your temperature. So that was brilliant.
Well, here now, I'd like to know what your opinion of this is, because both at Venetian, I'm sorry, at the Wynn complex, some tables had plexiglass separations, but most did not. So you had an opportunity to either sit at a table that had plexiglass or a table that did not. I think he's going to pull up a picture. Jeff's going to pull up that picture. So you're walking through the casino, and you can see there's a variety there of way you do it. But I think it's Anthony. I'm sorry. I think it's important to point out that there are fewer gaming positions at every table that I saw in Las Vegas. So a blackjack table that might have had 5 or 6 positions on it only has 2 or 3 positions on it additionally to help create more of that breathing space.
But how do you keep the craps table? I saw a craps table there. Can you go back there, Jeff? And there was a couple people playing. All right, so I see there's only 2 or 3 seats. One table has plexiglass, one doesn't. And then I see that machine, but there's 2 people standing, 3 people standing next to each other with no plexiglass. How do you prevent them from standing next to each other?
You don't. And people were standing next to each other all the time, in particular at the Cosmopolitan. People were close. People were cozy. People were a lot more comfortable than I expected them to be. And I got to be honest, in thinking about this and really putting in some critical thought behind this, I think what the real issue is the first group of people here are the ones that have that F it attitude. Right. So they're the ones that are dying to get out most. They're the ones that are not afraid. They're the ones that want to be a pioneer in this. So I think that they may not be an accurate representation of what the typical Las Vegas consumer may or may not be. So it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. When it was like Wild Wild West, Anthony.
I want you to say that again in 1 second, but you're going to keep people like me away if I see those because that regular consumer that you're talking about, the pioneer, they're going to be there all the time. There's going to be different people that have different levels of security or lack thereof. So that's going to keep people like me away or you away. So
might keep you away from Cosmopolitan, Anthony, but you might feel more comfortable here at Bellagio, which has more of those visual measures in place. Right. So I think what's happening is it's kind of like find your own level of comfort, and each of the resorts has chosen what level of comfort they want to put out to the public. Yeah, and the public have an opportunity to choose what works for them.
The problem is that person that's making the decision is affecting me long term, because then, if the numbers go up, everything gets shut down. So that's interesting. But you said something about the Wild West. What was the Wild West?
It was pretty essentially that most people, and the later it got. Oh, here, take a look at this video. There's a lot of crowds last night. Well, not there, not too crowded there. Let's see. I think what happened mostly, Anthony, was that a lot of the folks stopped wearing masks throughout the evening. The later it got, the more drinks that were served, the more people had let their guards down. All right, here we go. Check this out. This is the Cosmo, right, Jeff? Yeah. All right, so take a look at all of this. This is just everyone's just packed in at this place.
And is the dealer wearing a mask or no? Oh yeah, he is. Okay.
Yeah, but most people were not.
Look at that gentleman. That gentleman looked like he's way over 60, maybe 70, and he's standing without a mask, standing next to people. Again, I don't know what's changed in the CDC's recommendations that people would feel comfortable doing that, because as far as I understand, nothing has changed as far as the virus. So I don't. And okay, so there's these tables. There's only 3 or 4 seats, but you can sit close. I wonder what the reason was not to have plexiglass.
Yeah, and most of the properties do not. This place, the Bellagio here, is more of the unusual thing that we saw last night.
Well, you're seeing from a price range. So the more expensive hotels seem to have higher measures, and at least the hotels that were less expensive don't have as many measures. Is that correct?
I would say that is correct, with the exception of Cosmopolitan, because they got that hip and cool extra pricing that goes in there. But I think the audience they're looking for, that millennial audience, I think they're probably, and this is all just speculation, they're probably figuring that millennials are younger and probably aren't going to have as many fears and blah blah blah, which is probably how they came about their policies.
Well, I hope I'm saying his name. Micah Hill just wrote, "What happens in Vegas may not stay in Vegas."
Right. Yeah.
And I hope that that's not their new tagline when this is all coming out. But again, an 8 out of a 10, you said it, for the most part. But again, it comes down to Governor Cuomo was just talking about here in New York. It's like government and policy can only do so much.
Right.
This is a citizen attitude. This is about us taking care of us. Because
Right.
at some point, like, will they shut it down if it spikes again? You know, across the country, maybe not. Maybe, like you said last night to me, maybe you just go through it and take your chances. And I hope not. And I think we've got to really be understanding that nothing has changed. And if
Right.
you want these hotels and you want to start traveling again, we can't have a couple drinks and get crazy. We got.
All right, now, Anthony, I've got to tell you. Sorry, what was that, Jeff? The bar at Caesars. Oh yeah, the bar at Caesars. Let's bring that up, and then after that, I want to talk about the restaurant at Venetian. All right, so the bar at Caesars was just pretty packed. Look at that. I mean, doesn't it look like this could have been done in February?
Say it again. Let me.
That's the bar. That's the bar at Caesars. It's pretty packed. It looks like we could have shot that video back in February.
No, but when I see it, I really can't see. So show me what I'm seeing because it's hard.
Everybody's just very close together, packed at the bar.
Everybody's there. Okay, and nobody was wearing a mask.
No, at Caesars in particular, there were a lot less mask wearers.
Yeah, but also let's put this in perspective, right? Let's put this in perspective. If I was on the front lines of a military action, I have a different sense and feeling of what it's like if I'm going to another military action or I'm going to walk around my neighborhood or whatever. So in New York, we felt like we were on the front lines. If you were in maybe Oklahoma or you were in Wyoming, and like it's like, what are you talking about? Masks and COVID? Yeah, I've seen it on the news, but that's somebody else's problem. That's really not existing in my life. And that's kind of what you're seeing. You're seeing a New Yorker next to a person that maybe lives on the ranch and has no idea what you're talking about.
Right. All right, which property is this? This is Caesars. This is Caesars. Yeah.
You said that's Caesars? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And let me see. And did they have any plexiglass or anything like that or no?
I did not see any plexiglass anywhere in the entire building. Again, not to say that they didn't have it somewhere, but we didn't see any wherever we looked. We were on the main gaming floor and everything.
Wow. And now, would you say most of the people that you saw were locals kind of feeling out the casinos, or would you say a lot of people came off a plane?
I do not think a lot of people came off a plane just because the lack of capacity that could bring people here based on what I saw the day before when I was at the airport. So I think it's a lot of drive-in traffic. Now, I do want to stress, Anthony, it looks like all these places are crowded. This is the Venetian that we're looking at. And yes, they are crowded. But the fact is that there's only a handful of resorts open. So it's making it seem as if more people are here, I think, than are actually here. It feels like at most of the resorts last night that it was kind of like that mid-December when everything is super quiet. But there's only like 6 or 7 resorts open as opposed to the whole panoply of them. So there's not as many people here as you'd think. Which
place did you walk into that made you really uncomfortable and you're like, I'm not going back there? You don't have to say it if you don't want to.
No, I'm fine with staying at Cosmo. That's what video you got next? All right. Oh, and here, Anthony, we took this one just for you. I hope it doesn't make you too sad. Aw, empty poker room. It's closed.
Let me see. Which room is that?
That's the Caesars poker room. That is just closed.
Oh, and I know that. Okay, so right there, on that table right there.
Yeah.
I lost probably one of the most important tournaments I've ever played in Vegas. It was a small tournament that got real crazy real quick, and I got riveted on that table. So why did you have to show me that table?
Because we want to tease you.
Unfortunately, I have a story of every poker
table. Let's bring up the bar Palazzo now.
Oh,
Bellagio. Okay. Sorry, the bar at Bellagio. My apologies. This was kind of crazy. The bar at Bellagio. So the casino bars that have the poker tables, they have the dividers, the plexiglass between each of the slots on the table. So right there, only at Bellagio.
Where that guy was yawning. I'm sitting next to him. He's yawning. Doesn't have a mask on. Go back to that, please. Now,
there's plexiglass.
Is there a partition between me and him?
Correct. At the Bellagio, and only that we saw at Bellagio has the plexiglass in between each gaming position for the video poker machines.
So why? I'm just flabbergasted.
Hey, before you ask the next question, can I confuse you even more?
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I don't know, but let me confuse you even more. So as I was saying earlier, that everybody's kind of coming up with their own policies and stuff. Yeah, you know, Jeff and I like noodles, so we went to the Asian Noodle House over at Venetian last night. Now, they were the most comprehensive I have seen of anything here when it comes to safety and security in the entire city. They spaced out the tables pretty far from each other, I think more generously than I've seen in other places. Additionally, they're wearing masks, they're wearing visors on there, and get this, they're doing contact tracing, Anthony. So you have to sign your name and all of your information in case there's an issue that they could track you down.
And that's the way it should be. I'm sorry, but I mean,
and that's the only place that we saw that did that. And I want to give a special shout out to them for that.
I want to go there now. And do they run restaurants in Asia, and do they have experience with this?
I just think that the Asian population, I mean, this is a vast generalization, but have been more closely focused on these particular issues. As you know, in different Asian cultures, they were wearing masks to begin with a lot. So I think it's just a natural evolution of where that culture was compared to typical American culture.
And you felt really good about that.
Yes, I felt really good about that. We got another video.
So Melissa Sloan said Cosmopolitan was the most concerning. Why? Curious. Melissa, go back and watch the video of what Glenn was just saying. And basically what he was saying was that there's not a lot of plexiglass, there's not a lot of separation. And it seems that it almost looks like it was pre-COVID. Right. And crowds were on top of each other. Whereas you went to the Bellagio, or you went to the Venetian, or you went to the Wynn, you know, they were taking temperatures, and it seemed you had choices whether you consider the table with plexiglass or not. So whereas Cosmopolitan, it didn't seem they have as many measures. And maybe there's one coming, but that was his experience.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Another video. Yeah? No? Question. What changes have I seen with the guest room from a cleaning hygiene standpoint?
Hey, Grant, what we can do is let him put it up, and I'll read it. So you can.
Much better. Yes, I like that.
What changes has Glenn seen with the guest room from a cleaning and hygiene standpoint? So what have you
there was nothing specifically in the room that made me think any differently, but they had the seal on the door. And also in my room at Bellagio, they gave you a little kit like you would get on an airplane if you're in first class and going on an international flight. But this kit had a Bellagio embroidered face mask. It had sanitizer, and it had, what else did it have? Do you remember that, Jeff? No, it had a couple of other things in there that were on target with what we're experiencing right now. So that was pretty cool.
So our favorite friend Daniel wants to know if there were any UV wands anywhere.
None that I observed.
Okay. So last night, your best experience and your worst experience.
I could say Jeff's worst experience was having to hang out with me all night. But other than that, best experience, I think that in terms of safety, it was the dinner that we had at Venetian Palazzo at the Asian Noodle House that they have there.
And how did you pay? How did you pay at the end of the noodle? Like, how did
I paid with a credit card.
They took your credit card?
They did.
They were wearing gloves or no gloves?
Yes, they were wearing gloves. I was not concerned at all, one little bit.
So they took it, they gave it back to you.
Right. But everywhere we went, everywhere we purchased drinks or whatever, everyone was getting all touchy with the credit cards and all of that. There was no put it in yourself at the bars.
And how about so there was no bring your own pen or sanitizing the pens. So and so there's plenty of opportunity to be safe, but there's also plenty of opportunity to get COVID.
Right. So you have to decide whether or not you feel it's your personal responsibility or not your personal responsibility in the way that you behave.
Right. And what was your most concerning moment that you see? Answer that, and then I'll ask you this other question.
My most concerning moment was going into the Cosmopolitan and seeing everybody be a little bit too comfortable. That did not make me feel really comfortable. And we had one drink over there in the sports bar area, which was very, very empty. So we were separated from people. We felt comfortable having a drink without our masks on. But once we went walking into the casino proper, it was very, very crowded, and I just didn't feel comfortable. And we just kind of did a quick lap for the purpose of research and got out of there and went over to another resort.
And did any other hotels have hand washing stations
no other hotel had hand washing stations, but to be fair, everywhere we went, there was hand sanitizer, and it was available if you wanted it.
Okay. And how do they handle room service? Did you do any room service? What was breakfast like this morning?
Haven't had breakfast this morning. We just, we just had to get here, get our gear set, and to go. But I did go get a cup of coffee. The actual Starbucks is closed. I had to go to a place called Snacks to get a cup of coffee, and I was the only one there, so no notable experience.
Was there any feeling of people saying, "Hey, dude, get away from me"? Like you're too close, you're not wearing a mask. Any of that hostility that you're feeling around the country?
No hostility as much as us having to give each other quizzical glances from time to time as to why people are letting their guard down so much. In particular, people are still addicted to their phones and they're just simply not paying attention to where they're going.
Right. And but also people watching this could be saying, "Well, Glenn, you were there the first day,
right?
And you basically you're taking one for the team because you jumped into something that no one knew what was going to happen." Right. And so it's going to be bad and good. But overall, you gave Vegas an 8 out of 10. So I think that's a pretty strong number.
Yeah. And the reason why I give it an 8 out of 10 is because it is choose your own adventure in terms of feeling safe and secure. So I felt like there were a lot of levels from what I could make my personal decision as to how I will feel safe and comfortable. And that freedom gave me that feeling.
Melissa Sloan says, I will make a point of not going there with this feedback. And that's not the point. The point is to show you what's going on. And I would go there tomorrow, but we're giving you 7, 6, 5 different hotels to choose from. I would feel very comfortable going to the majority of hotels that Glenn said, wear my mask, socially separate, and sit at the table with plexiglass, and I would be fine. I would probably not go into bars, and I probably would not go into most restaurants, but I would go to the noodle place. So again, there's no reason not to. However, I can understand your concern. If we think that we're going to have a perfect world once we start opening, we're wrong. We have to take personal responsibility. What were you going to say, Glenn?
Producer Jeff?
I think that, as far as our standpoint, we were wearing masks the entire time we walked into a building, and we actually got like 2 or 3 comments from people walking by making fun of us for wearing masks, and that was a little concerning. The stance that I took, and that I think Glenn and I both took, is as people that have been researching this, and we've been, in cities that are a little bit more strict than other people in the country, no matter how we feel, if we want to take the mask off, we can't do that. We have to be the example to other people, in my opinion, and be safe for ourselves, be safe for those people, even though they're not necessarily reciprocating.
And I also think it comes from what part of the country you're in, how hard you got hit, and honestly, unfortunately, what news channel you're listening to. Yeah. And I feel that way even in neighborhoods. Like, again, I went to a neighborhood within my neighborhood, like a couple miles down, and I felt silly because I was wearing a mask. Mm-hmm. And we were near the beach, and a friend of ours came over to me, and she was about to hug me. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, no hugging? There's no hugging, And so, again, she lives in New York, so it's to each his own. And
right.
Being the country we are and the great country that we are, we have the freedoms and we have the ability to make these decisions. And unlike other countries where it's mandatory, it's just... Right. It's challenging, but you get to choose where you go.
That's true. All right, Anthony. I'd love to keep talking about this, but we got a hard out today. Maybe we could bring in Cerissa at this point.
Yeah, we can.
Hey.
I guess you're going to ask one more question. Hi, Cerissa. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Very good.
All right, so Cerissa Olson Miller, she operates a hospitality family on Facebook. It's a great group, over 50,000 members, and she's been very generous to help us put up the information about our poker tournament that Anthony is going to be doing next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Still an opportunity for you to get involved to play poker with Anthony. Just send us an email at pokerwithanthony@gmail.com, pokerwithanthony@gmail.com, and Colleen Norman has donated 1 seat. So if one of you out there can't afford to play poker with Anthony, but really want to beat Anthony, well, drop us a line at that email address, and we'll see if we can get you to be that one person who gets that free slot, courtesy of Colleen Norman. All right, so Cerissa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for being a part of our hospitality family Facebook group. It's been an amazing thing that we've started, and just happy to be on here today. Thank you.
So so based on what you just heard me and Glenn talking about in Vegas, are you getting on a plane to Vegas, or are you going to take a breather?
I would personally take a breather, just based upon some of the information that I've heard. And part of that is because, my husband and our parents are a little bit older, and just want to make sure that we're keeping our family safe so we can see everyone.
And so on Facebook, you have what? How many people? You have 50,000?
50,000, yeah. We are like 300 shy of 50,000 people on the Facebook group. But what's even more amazing is we started the page on March 19th. So that was right around the time that, COVID-19 really started to hit our industry and people were getting furloughed or laid off. And I originally thought that it would just be a fantastic place for everyone to get together and just talk about what was happening in their markets. Thought maybe 1,000, 2,000 people would potentially join. And over 24 hours, we had 24,000 people that were on Hospitality Family. And we now have people from all over the United States. We have all different countries that are involved in this group. And it's really just morphed into sharing ideas, being there for each other. Unfortunately, some of our members have been furloughed for over 70 days. So just providing a little comedy, a little humor, and just some support to each other.
And that's why I hang out with Glenn, so I can just laugh at him.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy to be the butt of your jokes, Anthony.
now that things are opening up, Vegas is opening up, what is the number one concern on hotel employees' minds right now?
I would say, it's really honestly a mixed bag. And it's a lot of what you were already talking about is, there are travelers who aren't wanting to wear the masks. There are hotels who potentially aren't, following standard operating procedures of keeping areas safe and clean. So how do we come together as a community of hoteliers and make sure that we're providing a service that's protecting everyone, those who are and those who aren't potentially concerned with what's happening right now in the area? I would say a lot of also what I'm hearing or seeing in the group is, unfortunately, jobs being laid off. So individuals are being furloughed and now they're being laid off. So the forum has actually become a really great place for individuals to connect with one another on open job opportunities as well.
Well, I just saw a posting, if anybody's listening, and maybe you can talk about it, you can go look at Graduate Hotels is looking for a regional Northeast vice president or manager for their region. So
that's cool.
Believe it or not, there are opportunities. I applied. Apparently, I got the job, but then it was reneged from me this morning, so I don't know.
Well, they found out who you were, and they're like, we can't get this guy in here.
Yeah, exactly. But
so it's over at Graduate Hotels, the president.
Hey, David Rochford. Good to talk to you.
All right. So what questions, real quick, before we let you go, what questions do you have for Glenn about Vegas? Anything that I haven't asked him? Because this man has gone through 48 hours of pain, exhaustion. Hopefully he's safe, and when he gets home, and him and Jeff test negative. What do you have for this pioneer?
Actually, he did very good answering all the questions. I would just say, as far as the feeling and the vibe that's in Vegas right now, did you get a chance to talk to any of the hotel community and see how they were feeling? And
well, when you talk about talking to the hotel community, I spoke to a lot of employed people in the casinos. There was a lot of going back and forth, welcoming each other back, congratulating each other for working and all of that. So they were all extremely enthusiastic to be able to be back in the jobs that they love to do. So the team members that are working right now are absolutely delighted to do it. I spoke to one gentleman who was security at Wynn, and he's like, they worked the entire time, he said, because he was in security and they needed to keep the resorts safe, even though there was nobody there. But he's just really, really thrilled that he gets a job, he's staying with the job, and he has an opportunity to work and make a living. And that's really the sentiment from a lot of people here.
The loyalty component that Wynn just established is insane. What they've been able to do with this, paying everyone, keeping them employed, taking care of them, communicating, doing everything right, they are the standard that will be taught in graduate classes and colleges around the world on how a company handles something so significant. So that was really, I think we all learned a lesson. And you know, what did they do? They just did things right. They didn't do anything extraordinary. They didn't reinvent the world. They just did what a responsible corporation that can afford to do did. And that is a true testament to win. Do you think, Jeff, this for our producer or for Glenn, do you think the employees, or have you hear about the employees getting concerned that some guests are not behaving, and are they concerned for their safety?
We didn't ask anyone
that particular question.
It was more, yesterday was much more of a celebratory type of feel for all the employees. Everybody was smiling. Everybody seemed super happy to be back to work. You know, as the night dragged on, obviously things got busier, and a lot of the guests seemed to lose, you know, sight of the restrictions or the measures that we've kind of put in place of distancing. But at the same time, the employees were just too busy to, you know, talk to at that point, right?
And what's going? I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Just two things. Since we have a hard out, our second guest is in the green room. I'm going to bring him on. And then Daniel asked about pools, if any pools were open. And I just wanted to let you know that yesterday the Bellagio Pool was open, and I made sure to go there and see what it was like. And to be honest with you, I felt completely 100% safe. The lifeguards all had sanitizer. They were all cleaning rails. Every time a person got up from a lounge, they went over and sprayed down that lounge and wiped and cleaned the entire area. So it was a really good experience at the pool at the Bellagio.
Was the lifeguards wearing masks?
Every employee was wearing masks.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yep. So Cerissa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. See you later. What happened to our buddy Anthony? Neil.
How are we doing, guys?
Hey, how are you doing, Neil? What's going on, sir? So, how do you pronounce your last name? Stracht?
Strachan.
Say it one more time.
Strachan. You want to be clearing the back of your throat perfectly while in the middle of it.
I could do that. Strachan. How's that?
That sounds perfect. Just a few whiskeys in there, and then it'll come out smoothly.
All right, so I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit about this segment. I'm a big fan of Balvenie. Father's Day is coming up, and what a perfect time to think about this scotch. So maybe you could share a little bit about the Balvenie.
Yeah, so I have to say, just first of all, gents, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. The old software on the computer did not like this fancy broadcast stuff, so I'm working it off of my phone. So if I'm struggling to hear at any stage, it's because the phone's dying a little bit. But so at the Balvenie, we really make our whiskey in quite a traditional fashion, and we really pride ourselves on people making the difference between good and great whiskey. And in our small little section of Scotland up in Speyside, beside a town called Dufftown, where we make our whiskey, everything from grain to bottling can be done on site, very much making us like a single estate styled whiskey, similar to like a lot of wines out there. And with these people and the way that we make our whiskey, I'm really fortunate to have people that have worked for us for decades. Some people, like our coppersmith that we have on site maintaining our stills, has worked for the company for 63 years. And the history and more the stories that these guys can pass on from being in an industry like Scotch for like 6 decades are amazing.
So Neil, real quick, let me just ask you a question about how concerned are you about your industry, about your product, about coming back with all the bars and restaurants being closed? Where are you guys at? I mean, what are your new marketing strategies? And that's a lot in one question.
Yeah, so marketing strategy, I suppose, doesn't really change so much. The brand's been very honest always, and anything that we do marketing-wise is an evolution of what our kind of core is. That the term handcrafted in Bamshire was on the first bottle of the Balvenie single malt, and we'll continue to do that. And not having bars and restaurants really kills me on my kind of on my day-to-day life. I'm presenting, I'm hosting in bars and restaurants all the time, and it's really where I feel most comfortable being. But with that being said, with not having that fantastic kind of shop front as the on-trade and being in these bars and restaurants, we're moving very much up to online. And as the weeks kind of go past, there's more and more interesting things that we're looking at kind of progressing into doing, and just how to speak to customers. But
so based on what Glenn was saying, you don't get on a plane to Vegas, I bet.
So, pardon?
You would get on a plane to Vegas, I bet.
Oh, I would love to get on a plane to Vegas, but luckily I think it's faster even at the moment just to drive. I'm 4 hours away. I'm in downtown LA. So
Glenn, I know we have a hard out. I got to leave in a few minutes, but what are you seeing as you're standing in that restaurant and you're looking? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What's going on?
Well, I'm seeing nothing because the restaurant's not open.
Restaurant.
So you're by yourself. I see you have your luggage right next to you, so you're ready to go.
Yeah. Socially distant.
Yes, it's all socially. The tables here are all spread out, so you could sit and be comfortable. Every restaurant that I've peered into, and the ones that we ate at, everyone is taking those measures for dine-in to be very far apart. There's a lot less tables in all these restaurants.
Yeah, and that's another problem because obviously that has an effect on the bottom line.
That's right.
And so, is there any kind of standard in place in Vegas where hotels can only be at 50% occupancy, or is that just a restaurant bar kind of thing?
No. I believe Bellagio is doing 50% capacity currently. I don't know what the other resorts are doing and what they will change in
is that a legal requirement from the local government, or is that just what they're doing?
I don't know the answer to that, so I can't speak to it.
Okay. So, Jeff, what was the most surprising thing you saw last night?
He's coming.
It was the Cosmo. It literally, when we started walking into the back of the, deeper into the property, it really, truly looked like February. And before all this started, and before we knew what we know now, and we knew what measures we need to take to protect society, and walking into the Cosmo and seeing those crowds, it looked like those people didn't hear the message that we've all been hearing.
So do you think there's going to be two messages coming out of Vegas? The majority of hotels doing it right, and then there's going to be Instagram and videos of people criticizing hotels that are doing it wrong.
Anthony, I don't know if you noticed, but it's 2020. No matter what anybody does, they're going to be criticized on social media.
Okay. Can I start criticizing you? No, but just in general, I mean, is that your sense? Like right now, if you had to tell the story, you basically, your story would be what? If I was going to Vegas, I was getting on a plane to go to Vegas.
I think
I'd say, okay, Glenn, give me direction. What do I do?
I think the story is we will know a lot more in 2 weeks or 3 weeks of whether or not this is going well or not.
So we're playing Russian roulette, what you're saying?
Yeah.
But I think society in general has decided to go in that direction.
What I'm saying, Glenn, specifically is right now I'm getting on a plane, right? I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm not, but say I was. Give me 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of advice you would give me besides,
you can't have any expectations that other people are going to do the right thing. So it's all about you. It's your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you're with feel safe and secure. And to do that, you got to take those extra measures. You have to have the hand sanitizers with you. You have to have the masks with you. You have to have those things in place. So if the systems that you're deciding to be a part of fail you on that, you're still going to have a backup plan in order to feel comfortable. I thought the airline, Delta, did a great job, made me feel super comfortable. I'm not looking forward to getting back on the plane for all the normal reasons, not for the typical anxiety. So I feel great about that.
Well, thank you, my friend. I know you can continue, but I've got to pop off.
All right, you can pop off. I'm going to talk to Neil for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get out of here.
I'm going to do a webinar for Omaha right now. Jeff, thank you. Glenn, thank you. We're all living vicariously through you, and I know it was a lot of work, so I truly appreciate it. And I think it gave a lot of people some real clarity of what's going on. So,
excellent
good job. Thank you, my brother.
Good luck on the webinar, Anthony. Talk to you later, man. All right, be good. All right, Neil, thank you for sticking around. So we got a couple of minutes left because I've got to go to the airport and catch a plane. But what are the characteristics that make a good Scotch whiskey to make me want to spend the money on it?
Oh, I think that it gives you something flavor-wise in the mouth that keeps on giving and giving, something interesting, intriguing, and something that makes you feel good with a group, you know,
Right.
that by pouring some of that amber liquid into the glass, sharing it with friends, it puts a smile on your face, you know, that's all good whiskey should be. And I think, in all seriousness,
Yeah.
people don't make bad whiskey anymore. We know what we're doing.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Some are a lot better than others, and
Right.
Certainly with ours, with kind of the nature of its kind of more delicate alcohol, but with the bigger oak flavor and full flavor that we get from the finest casks, it makes it very versatile for many people to enjoy. So.
Right. The question I have for you, this is the most important one. What's the correct way to drink a whiskey? Do you put water in it? Do you put ice in it? Ice and water? Just drink it, neat. How do you suggest drinking the Balvenie?
You drink your whiskey any way you want. I always say, with good company. I think gone are the days when these like old relics,
right?
These old relics are talking. Oh, you can't do this with your whiskey. Oh, you can't. And I stood in a tour about a year ago in a distillery I won't name, and some lady said that you could never mix their single malt with Coke, and I just about laughed. I said, it's like, well, you can drink it any way you want, but certainly I drink the Balvenie neat. With the alcohol, it's a bit more softer, and I never feel so I need that to be mellowed out. But some days a little splash of water in it. And certainly if I'm going about on like a professional tasting, nosing, it's very structured, it's neat, then a little bit of water. But it just depends what mood that you're in. And most people don't need to drink whiskey professionally, writing tasting notes for it. So, yeah. But ice will definitely numb the flavors or the delicate notes in the whiskey. But if you're living somewhere like Nevada or here in California, there's nothing wrong with drinking whiskey in your ice. It's just the flavor will be a little bit nulled.
Right. Beautiful. I love it. Where can we find the Balvenie?
Oh, I would hope in all of your friendly retailers at the moment, but certainly at the moment I'm using Drizzly a lot for all of my purchases, which makes life kind of really easier. I'm sending a lot of bottles around the States at the moment, and it's so easy just to plug in and play on that and just find your closest local liquor store.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Neil, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. I'll see you guys real soon. Let's wrap up the show. All right. Listen, this last couple of days have been absolutely incredible, absolutely surreal, just downright bizarre. And I want to thank each and every one of you for following us along on this coverage. If you like this coverage, if you want to get more of this kind of coverage, text the word hotel to 66866. Easy enough. Text the word hotel to 66866. Make sure you check out that Hospitality Family site on Facebook, and be sure to read No Vacancy News. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on Monday. Have a really great Feel Good Friday.